Seattle residents are a lot of Seattle residents are fed up. Some are perfectly fine voting for the same old stuff that gets them crime-ridden neighborhoods, etc. But in North Seattle in particular, and I'm talking along Aurora Avenue North, there's a huge prostitution issue, and there has been for many years. But as that prostitution issue gets worse, of course, with prostitutes, you have pimps. With pimps, you have people who are very concerned about territory. So we're having full-on gangland shootings up in Aurora, on Aurora Avenue, and you have a lot of families that live around there, and they have had enough. And in lieu of the city doing anything meaningful, they're taking matters into their own hands. This segment is brought to you in partnership with our friends at Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org. Sign up for their newsletter because they'll alert you to opportunities to get involved in saving this state we love. So this is what it sounds like if you're living in North Seattle, and if you were there on Saturday in the middle of the night about 4 a.m. in the morning. Here's what you would have heard. Not fireworks. Listen to that. Straight up gangland style shootout. Absolutely outrageous. And yeah, that was Saturday, but it could have been any other night. That kind of stuff is happening not infrequently in North Seattle. Como News was up there, and they were saying that, they talked to a resident who had their infant's room and an apartment hit by gunfire. So when you're shooting that many bullets, you don't care where they go. You don't care where they go. And those are in residential areas with businesses. And so they're going through kids' bedrooms. They're going into people's apartments. And you could kill a number of people having a shootout like that. It's outrageous. So you have some streets where you heard at the end of that video, like the speeding cars. So you'll have these shootouts happen, and then these vehicles try to get away. And sometimes they're fleeing through residential neighborhoods. So this picture is from King 5 News. You have some of these residential areas setting up barricades. And look, that's frustrating because if I lived on that street, I would be like, I need to drive through here. You can't just barricade the street. But they're trying to stop some of these shootings from spilling over into their neighborhoods. And they're absolutely fed up. And they're taking it upon themselves to try to, protect their little area as best they can. King 5 News also spoke to businesses who, they had some crazy video of this particular shootout, but said, look, the city has to do something for us.
His camera has captured multiple angles of more than 30 rounds being fired. It happened on Saturday, 4 o'clock in the morning.
It was flat out a shootout, an urban warfare going on, and our property happened to be one of the targets.
The video even shows two men taking cover behind a car before firing back at another group across the busy thoroughfare. Aurora is one of the main north-south arterials through Seattle.
And until the mayor and our city attorney comes up with a plan of action versus words, then this will continue to happen through the summer.
That looks like an episode of Chicago PD. So it's not just the downtown core where this is happening. The gang problem and the crime crisis has gotten very significant on Aurora Avenue North. Now, why is this happening? So the prostitution issue, I get it, is a delicate-ish crime issue. Some of it's human trafficking. A lot of it's sort of forced prostitution. You might have a little bit here and there that's women, wanting to get into sex work. I think that's probably pretty rare compared to women who have pimps and are being, forced to hand over some of the money that they make. And then drugs is wrapped up into all of that. So there was a movement, and I can't say I disagree with it on its face, but, there was a movement to sort of stop prosecuting the sex workers and go after the Johns. Let's go after the demand and not, throw these women in jail when they might be working for a pimp and might be victims of sex trafficking or whatever it is. On its face, I don't disagree with that. But all of it has led to this very permissive environment around prostitution, which is driving a lot of the other crime issues up there. For instance, back in 2025, so October of last year, we talked about this new approach that the city of Seattle and the police department had. And we kind of laughed at it at the time, and it is a little bit laughable. So instead of going out and arresting Johns, what are they doing? They were sending these warning letters. Now, I get it, if that's being done in combination with other things, but basically, if your car was seen in an area of prostitution, frequently or suspiciously, they'd send a letter to your house or to the house that vehicle was registered to, And it would say, this letter is to notify you that a vehicle registered to your name was observed by detectives with the Seattle Police Department Human Trafficking Unit on Aurora Avenue North, engaged in suspected illegal sexual exploitation activity. It would have, make, model, license, day, time, all these things. And the idea was to sort of let the Johns know, hey, we're on to you, but also maybe shame them. Maybe their wife opens that letter and is like, excuse me, what is going on here? And that would be a way to cut back on the demand. But you know what? That's not a substitute for arresting them. And if you're saying that detectives saw you there engaged in suspected illegal sexual exploitation, why didn't they arrest them? Are they being allowed to arrest them? Because if you're not going to be heavy-handed on the issue that is driving the crime crisis, you're just going to wind up with more dead bodies. And it's going to continue to be a hellhole. What did the business owner call it? I mean, it's urban warfare. So, I understand the progressive nature to sort of let some of these low-level crimes or crimes of quote-unquote poverty or crimes of survival, quote-unquote, to go. I understand this progressive mindset. But it's the broken windows theory. You allow that to go, and then what comes along with it? Now you have this crime environment being driven by prostitution, the drugs are involved, you get these gang warfare issues for territory, and then you get shootouts in the middle of the night where more than 30 rounds are fired. And you get those rounds going through the bedrooms of toddlers and into homes and apartment buildings and businesses, and that's when innocent people die. So you can't just allow this to go through because, we feel bad for the girls because sex trafficking. You know what? Pick them up anyway. Pick them up. You see them out there. You go on Aurora right now, and there's chicks almost fully nude, in their heels, walking down Aurora. You could go down right now, and you'd probably find 5 to 10. Pick them up anyway, and then you get them out of that environment. And if they are being sex trafficked, then you can try to figure it out. You can try to get to who's sex trafficking them. And I know I'm sounding like I'm sure police do some of this, right? But clearly they're not being allowed to do enough of it. And if there isn't prosecution on the back end, then nothing's going to happen. If you just cut them loose. So arrest more Johns, get the girls off the street, send police up there, arrest the gang members, all of that stuff that has to be absolutely, quote unquote, heavy-handed, enforce the law, or people are going to start to die up there. And it's going to be innocent people, innocent business owners, innocent residents, kids who have families up there. I mean, it was Aurora Avenue North where that 15-year-old girl was plucked from the bus stop and brought into the woods and sexually assaulted by the homeless man. That was North Seattle as well. Absolutely outrageous. What they're willing to allow in the name of progressivism, it's got to stop. That segment is brought to you in partnership with our friends at Future 42. Turn your frustration into action at future42.org. Make sure you sign up for their newsletter to be alerted to opportunities to do just that.